You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Balls Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrell, and as always, I'm joined by our co-host, Dakota Davis.
Hey, how's it going, Jeremiah?
Man, we are here again, episode 58.
I'm ready. I'm excited for this episode.
We've got Jesse Riddle in the other chair over there. This is the Balls Hog of Liberty. Our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. It's a show about folks who are involved in politics. We promise that our episodes are going to be a fun and an easy listen. We interview people who are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks we just find interesting. Today's not really an interview show, though. More it's of a recap and a, oh, my God, it's finally over show.
Yeah, it's more of a fun show. Still local, all things local that we promise with Balls Hog of Liberty. But it's going to be a fun one. We've been wanting to do a fun one for quite some time. And for some reason, apparently the only fun person that we have
I was like, I'm pretty sure that
is Jesse Riddle.
we looked in our phone book and said, who's fun? And we realized Kate is planting, Danny's sick, and Chase is going to Florida. So we brought in Jesse off the deep bench.
You just brought me in.
Here he is.
And Scott Fleener has started his own podcast. If you remember American hero Scott Fleener, he started his own podcast. It's called Great Business Ideas.
He's competing against us, huh?
Yeah, well, this is all about good ideas. It's kind of like the Elon Musk Nighttime Thoughts Twitter page.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow that one, but it's kind of like that.
So we have to do some thank yous again,
as
always.
There's always thank yous to be had. Today, I think that the biggest thank you that we should put out there is Mrs. Carly Ernst. I think I'm pronouncing her name right, but she purchased all of the startup equipment that we had, some microphones, a board, so be looking out for a new podcast that she's going to be producing here soon.
So her goal, she lives in Louisiana, and they don't have counties, they have parishes down there, but we talked with her today, and she wants to duplicate the Balls Hog of Liberty down there with some people in her area. So she has the original, it was We Are Libertarians equipment that was reappropriated to the Balls Hog of Liberty, and now it's on its way down to Louisiana. So it's our old Yamaha board that episodes 1 through 57 were made on, and our H2N that served us so very well, and the original microphones. You guys remember seeing those mics, the big blue mics,
the microphones that Jeremiah desperately wishes we had back.
Man, it's like a divorce now. They're really gone.
I remember when he bought those, and I was like, dude, you bought not the greatest microphones.
Well, don't say that because Carly has them, and they served us very, very well.
They're
and
good
they're
for startup.
Well. Yeah, she got a good price for them.
So I couldn't believe she bought them today quickly. Dakota listed them yesterday, and she hit us up and was like, "Is this still available?" Yeah, it is. And she PayPal'd the money over, and before I could even say goodbye to them today, Dakota had them boxed up, and they were on their way to Louisiana.
That's I had a friend of mine from our place in Brookville, Rich Puleo, who actually listens to this podcast as well.
I've met Rich.
Yeah,
he was at your wedding. I think we danced awkwardly together.
Oh, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But he hit me.
There's not many people at your wedding I didn't dance awkwardly with.
He's a musician, so he wanted our mixer, and I was like, sorry, man, we're gonna have to try to keep it all together, but I'll hit you up if no one's interested. Sure enough, Carly was interested, and we got him down there.
It was gone. He should have bought the mics for spoken word. He could have done a Boy Named Sue on it.
That's true.
Talked into him and then recorded it all. But
my name is Sue. How do you do?
I don't know the song.
So
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, man, you're wearing black. It should be you. So we are recording now on the podcast instead of a Zoom H2N. We're using an H6, which is a studio in a box. We honestly could get by if we were just an audio podcast at this point. We could get by just with the Zoom. It's got 4 inputs, so we could do all of the mics right here.
Right after you purchased that, and we had made up our mind that hey, this is what we want. I subscribed to Bertcast, which is Bert Kreischer's podcast, and he had Dan Cummins on, which is my all-time favorite podcaster and comedian, and so I loved that one. they were recording off of an H6.
That was what they were doing.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. I was like, this is insane. We are the big time now.
Yeah, we've got the best. I mean, and it's very affordable. You know, the H6 is like $300, and what we had was fine for the studio, but now this will give us the opportunity. We can go out and buy a couple more microphones and some cables and have a true studio quality. You know, we hold the mics and go out and sit around or have a conversation with somebody, or we can just record open air with this thing as it is. So this is thanks to the Patreon people. We've got the H6. And we've got that going. We got the new USB board that's in place, so that's how we did the phone calls last week. And we're trying to make arrangements to set up a phone call later this afternoon as well, or later this evening. Mike Broyles is down at the courthouse, and we're going to try to have him report in. You heard his voice just for a moment or two on Tuesday night on the live show.
Yep, that's right.
He called in, but there's a LOIT thing going on with the sheriff's department and public safety, and then the saga of my sewers that we've been covering since last summer. They're finally voting on that between the city and the county, talking about some sort of an agreement there. So we're going to get some real details out in public on that. So hoping to get some late breaking news. So yeah, we had this spot on here to try to hawk the board, but it's gone, man.
I know. I put into the show notes, and I was lazy, and I didn't get around to writing the show notes until this morning. And I have a note on here that says we have equipment for sale, but alas, we do not. Thank you, Miss Carly.
It's gone.
Yep.
So we got to recap. We got to back up even more, back to the weekend.
Yeah.
It's
been a long time since we did a weekend recap.
I know. Well, we spent the weekend together. All three of us spent time together this weekend.
That's right.
We did.
So we had the 2018 Libertarian State Convention at the beautiful Marriott Hotel in downtown Indianapolis.
It was a great convention. Thank you to Rick Irvine for putting it all together. I had a good time.
We went down. You were working, but I went down Friday night and had a little social evening down there. And then Saturday was the workshops that we talked about. Dakota and I gave a presentation. Went very well. We heard that it went very well. Audrey says don't forget her.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
What did you forget?
Audrey is in a contest right now. She graduates from college tomorrow.
I saw that.
Yeah, so she's
It's a Friday graduation?
It's a Friday graduation, that's correct. So she walks across the stage, but she's in a contest for who has decorated the best graduation cap.
All right.
So that is going on. If you can...
I liked it. I think her mother-in-law shared it, and I liked it on your mom's Facebook page. Is that all I have to do?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the way we win?
Well, yeah, you have to like it by going to the original post that is on the IU East Facebook page. Those are the likes that count.
That's what
she needs.
So I got to go back and like it again.
Yeah. So if you go to her Facebook page, you'll be able to find the decorated cap, which is a shout out to her mom and dad. Thank you.
She forgot to thank her husband.
I haven't paid for it, so I'm okay with that.
You were supportive, weren't you?
I like to think so, but
I mean, I don't know. I feel like by the time she takes the walk, she had to make some adjustments and like, P.S. My husband Dakota, thank you too.
Well,
and as well.
I'm okay with it. But if I end up having to pay for graduate school, then I expect a thank you cap. No, but if you could go on there, it's a financial reward.
Really?
So, yeah,
so
it's a good thing.
It's the IU East bookstore page.
Yep,
that's where you got to go
right.
to. All right, so we're going to look for that. I will get that done today because anything I can do to help offset Dakota and Audrey's cost is better for the podcast. Because I found out today
that's right.
he spent money out of his own pocket to pay for our Skype number, which I thought was just free. I thought there was free stuff in the world, but there's not.
In Skype, you can only do like 1-800 numbers for free.
Yeah. So
we have a number that says it's coming from Lynn, Indiana.
Lebanon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the podcast is in Lebanon.
You don't want to be from Lynn.
No.
Caskets.
Do you want to be from Lebanon?
Rick Mount is from Lebanon.
Jim Jones was from Lynn, wasn't he?
Jim Jones is from Lynn.
Yeah.
You don't want to be calling from Lynn.
If you want to be a
That's
shooter,
right. I forgot about Jim.
If you want to have the most pure jump shot in the history of the world, you want to be from Lebanon, Indiana.
Did you notice that I just said I forgot about Jim? Like,
your old boy.
Yeah, old boy Jim.
Oh, Jim.
So so the LP convention. Let's try to pivot back. We have no focus at all today. This is going to be a wild. We don't care. We don't know.
There's
no guest
show.
here. We don't have a county commissioner or a county council person interviewing for their job.
Or
we are totally
interviewing for Congress.
Or a guy running for Congress.
Gosh.
We are totally unsupervised.
We'll get to that stuff later.
Yeah. So we gave a presentation, and it was about this show.
That's right.
Went very well. Danny Lundy, who I think that guy has put in ridiculous amount of effort.
Oh yeah.
And he's running for a township board spot in Morgan County, Brown Township, Morgan County. And he's raised the money. He looks professional. He spent the entire day Tuesday outside the polls saying, "Hey, you can't vote for me today, but you can in November."
Yep. He spent 12 hours out there, and he also kind of does a similar thing that we do with Boss Hog, just with the Morgan County LP Facebook page, where he goes and he records public meetings. He live streams them to that Facebook page and stuff. So
he sits in the front row, though.
Yeah,
we should do when we do that stuff.
We're going to do that. Well, we have the H6 now,
yeah.
So we're just going to set that baby right up on the table. I don't care who says anything.
What if somebody takes it?
This is my property.
What if we go to a city council meeting and
no one's going to take it?
Mark Koger steals it.
I'll put a label on the back that says property of BHOL. That'll fix everything.
Does that work for you, Jesse? Would that keep you from stealing it?
No. I mean, like, this label is.
This label means nothing.
Yeah, this label is doing better than the cows from preventing me from stealing, apparently.
Yeah, so we gave our big presentation. I raised a little bit of money for the campaign down there. Got some state help, some state contributions from our former Senate nominee, Rebecca Sink-Burris. We spoke to a very big crowd. It was a fun presentation, and I kept looking back at Rebecca going, if I got Rebecca, I'm doing all right. And she was nodding her head, giving her approval, like,
yep,
yeah, you're doing great,
yep.
Jerry, you're doing great. And I was like, yeah, all right, I feel good. And she came up with some cash. So that was kind of cool. And raised some more from a few other folks, too. So it was a really, really fun time. Good presentation.
Yeah, you didn't just raise money, though. We didn't just raise money for your campaign.
We were working on trying to get some Patreon help as well.
Yep, we tried.
we did have a plan that we failed on. We did have one minor setback. We were going to give out a free poster.
Oh yeah,
and we forgot the posters.
Well, no one asked for the posters, so
yeah, somebody.
It's not like it mattered.
It's true. Nobody did ask. We did have a poster on the table, my banner, and then at the end of the night I forgot it, and then the next day all the tables were gone. So somebody has my Boss Hog banner. I don't know where it's at, but it's gone.
I checked the Department of whatever waste.
Somebody has it.
They have it.
I checked at the end of the night, and all my business cards were gone, so that's a good thing.
I'm hoping Christy Avery picked it up.
Yeah.
So, but I'll tell you what, I took pictures and I posted them to the LP convention, and you probably see it through my Facebook page. Dakota was absolutely holding court on Saturday night after the convention was over. I look over. Dakota's wearing his suit, looking like he's
Jim Jones.
Yeah, he's starting a religion, and you look over at him, and he's got like 3 dudes that are 20 years older than him, and he's absolutely holding court, and he just got him in the palm of his hand, explaining to him how he's taking over the world.
I saw that. It was after the convention, right?
Yeah, it was after the business meeting was over. I think before dinner.
Yeah, I saw that.
Dakota was just killing it.
There was 4 people that were asking me about. They were actually asking me about graphic design work. So apparently, I've done some good work for the Boss Hog Liberty. I don't know.
They're all about you, man.
Maybe.
So then that night, we heard from Bill Weld. He's the former governor of Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. He was the vice presidential nominee last election cycle.
Yep. I was asked to show him around, and the timing didn't work out. I barely met the man. I shook his hand, and he said, "I have your cell phone number." And I said, "I have your cell phone number, Bill." And that was about the extent of it. We never really had much conversation. I welcomed him to Indianapolis.
I didn't say 2 words to the man, but I did see him clapping for me at the end of the night.
Yeah, I know. He congratulated me. So we won some awards. It was pretty cool.
It was really cool.
We were recognized by the Libertarian Party of Indiana for this podcast and for the political stuff we do. Mm-hmm. I won the Barbara Borland Light of Liberty Award, which is for kind of my contributions to the Libertarian Party in the last few years and the volunteer things I've done. And then Dakota won the Ken Bassan Outreach Award, which is for the growth of the Henry County Party and the once again for the work of this podcast. So we each were like shocked that we won.
Yeah, I was totally shocked. I saw you win, and I was like, well, Jeremiah won his award. They're not going to have both of us go up there from the Boss Hog Liberty podcast. So I seriously
crying and pouting it.
I sat back in my chair and I crossed my legs and I just sat there and I pulled out my phone and getting ready to sit through somebody else's speech. And then
someone else's would be Jeremiah's.
And then Tim said my name.
I don't think I was nominated for that. No.
Oh.
Tim said my name and I was like, it totally shocked me. I had to stand up really fast. And then Bill Weld was clapping for me.
Bill Weld drank during my speech. Sarah took a short video and we had a screenshot, and it's Bill Weld just pouring back the wine during my little thank you.
That's hilarious.
So that was fun. We got that screenshot for the rest of my life. The governor, I made the governor. I drove him to drinking.
Which, by the way, the Libertarian Party of Henry County has got 19 members now. We're one away from 20.
Is there a prize if somebody joins today at lpin.org? Is there a Dakota Davis prize?
Yeah, if you join now, then I'll give you
We'll throw you in that free poster.
I'll give you a free copy of the iPencil essay.
There you go. If somebody joins, actually, we get an extra delegate to the state convention next year once we get to 20.
That's true.
So let's go. Let's get on it. Let's see. Anything else? Oh yeah, we had some nominations. We got some people on the state ballot down there.
That's right.
So Tuesday was the primary where the Republicans, Democrats picked all their candidates, which is great for them. What wasn't great was that we paid for it.
Yeah, the taxpayers paid for it.
Yeah, the taxpayers paid for all of that selection. We paid our own way on Tuesday or on Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, and we picked our Secretary of State nominee, who was Mark Rutherford. You heard him on the show. Lucy Brenton, who ran for for U.S. Senate against Evan Bayh and Todd Young a few years ago. She was renominated, and she will now be facing Senator Joe Donnelly and Mike Braun, the bajillionaire.
Mike the Rhino Braun.
Oh boy, we've talked to his people. He's invited on the show, so let's not upset the apple cart too much, co-host.
That's right. I want him to come on. This is a direct call out to Mike Braun. The Mike the Rhino Braun, come here and change my mind.
Explain away.
Yep.
And then Tom Furkinoff was on. He's was on the ballot, and we nominated him. He's the new chairman of Wayne County's party, and real nice guy. You and I have met with him a few times.
Yep.
And
really my man Tom. Hashtag tight with Tom.
Tight with Tom. So Tom is going to face Janine Lee Lake. We've learned how to say her name.
Janine, yeah.
She got the big. I think she won because of David Letterman. I really do. She got the big bump.
She did. A fistful of cash from Dave Letterman.
Is that the one that was at Caffeinery?
Yeah. She's had like this God thing and said God put Dave in her life there, and she's hoping to have him out for another fundraiser.
God thing.
She's been running as the Christian Democrat, saying the Republicans don't have a line on God. They don't. She can be a Christian Democrat and be open about it. So that was pretty cool. That she won, and she won handily.
She did.
I don't know that. I don't know why people. I don't know if people really researched it, or if her name was what they wanted, or what the motivation was. But she won very handily. Jim Pruitt was second, and Lane Siekman was third, and then it was a pretty sharp drop off after that.
There was no incumbents, right?
No, the incumbent is Luke Messer, who lost the Senate race.
Gotcha.
And then
I did not know he lost.
Finally, we had.
This was
Spangle's answering you.
He's way too late now.
Yeah.
we've already started the show.
We've already got this going. He's telling us to start flipping knobs. I'm like, I'm recording a show. I'm not going to start just twisting stuff now. And then, Tom's in that race. So it's going to be Greg Pence,
if you were
Janine Lee Lake, and Tom Furkinoff.
If you were really pulling for Jonathan Lamb in the Republican primary, and you have a sour taste in your mouth for Mr. Greg Pence, I think that Tom's your man.
So that's the summary of the LP convention. Had a great time. I think we're going to be up in Fort Wayne next year. That's the rumor. I don't know if it's officially picked. You're on the State Central Committee, Jesse. Did they make that determination, or are they still searching?
I think Christy Avery is
the chairperson.
She's the chairperson for the committee, and she is responsible for looking for locations. And she's been looking in Fort Wayne, so possibly.
Kirsten Kronk wants to know if when the lovely Sarah Potter moves to town, will we have our 20 members? Yes, we will. But if you joined right now, Kirsten, we'd have our 20 members.
Yeah.
Just saying.
A lot
Jump
faster.
on there. Let's go.
Come on,
Kirsten. You want to.
I'm waiting on you.
You're all about it. What else we got? Primary results.
Oh, yeah. This was the big one.
You want to lead us through the upset of the frickin' millennium?
I can try to do that, which was insane. This whole primary, like the races, watching and paying attention to the races, having all of the different contestants coming through our studio. I'm going to say contestants.
No.
It's more
we
fun.
live in a Donald Trump as president. They're contestants.
They're contestants.
They're definitely contestants.
Whenever you're talking in show business like we are, it's contestants.
Gotcha.
We bounce it back and forth between realities all the time. We're in show business.
I need to update my Facebook to say I'm the contestant for the race.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
but,
for sure.
I will do
there
that.
were a lot of upsets, man. I think Joe, I'm gonna butcher his name, but Burjax, is that how
I go
it's said?
Burzax, but I've never heard it said out loud.
I don't know.
We are the media, so we are the pronunciation guide. So whatever we say is what Joe has to
I
live
have
with.
always said Burgax.
Burgax.
I don't know.
That sounds better. The hard G.
Yeah.
I like that one more. All right, I'm gonna say
Prosecutor Joe.
I'm just gonna say Joe. Yeah, Joe was the only incumbent that actually won his primary race. Whenever it comes to county-wide races, we had Darren Jacobs who won his primary race by.
Well, he
by
wasn't a
mere-
primary race. He was elected as
elected. So he won his race.
as
and he was the
as
incumbent.
the chief knee knocker for the Democrats.
Chief knee knocker.
He's the guy that goes around and whips up the Democrats and makes decisions for them in his precinct. He's the ward boss.
He's the whip of Spiceland.
They just got
Spiceland
Casey's
won.
and it's open. I just passed it.
I know,
Looks
big time.
Fantastic.
So
It's going to be a big traffic problem soon.
yeah, but he was the only incumbent that won. So we had Ken Gray won, and Peg Steffendell.
She won by
Susan.
32 votes. Peg beat
32
Betsy
votes.
by 32 votes.
That's
Shows,
crazy.
Shows you how much every vote counts.
Well, I was going to say, not only that, I was actually impressed that both of them were at the top of that list. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I was telling Jared before the show started, I had a coworker I was talking to on Wednesday after the race, and he's like, and I think he's in his 40s, and in case he's watching this, I'm not going to say maybe 50s, but no, he's in his 40s, and he was telling me, he said, I've never voted. Your vote doesn't count, doesn't matter. I was like, dude, the Spiceland race was down to 3 votes.
Yeah, 3 votes went the other way. It would
the
change.
thing that your vote doesn't matter locally, that's
why
false.
That's why I'm all about
in
local
2014
politics.
for the Henry Township Board, it was a tie, and Dale Cole lost on a tiebreaker.
I lost by like 300 votes, and it's just me bragging.
Which I've talked to a lot of different councilmen that they're like, Jeremiah's got a great chance, and so does Jesse. And they're like, every time they're like, Jesse shocked me in 2016 at the at-large race, because whenever you're talking at-large, if you vote straight ticket, it doesn't matter. They have to go through and actually select your name.
Right.
So that was pretty impressive. I wasn't the chairman then. You were.
Picked up some of those Democrat votes from Newcastle.
We're gonna get there.
You've got your big race. It's going to be you, Dakota Clark,
and
Peg Steffendell.
I just finished that podcast today.
Yeah. Did you learn anything? You find her weaknesses?
Got it mapped out.
Ready to go. You're going to turn out that Knightstown vote.
Strategizing already.
Jesse lives practically in downtown Knightstown, Indiana.
Oh, and we forgot
Practically, I literally live in the median, 1 block from
Yeah.
the other median.
right by the speedway or the subway.
No.
No,
I live
Dang
over
it.
by the.
I was trying to.
He lives.
shooting in the dark.
Jesse lives very close to a major government building in downtown.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Major
Government building.
But
You could probably get your
we forgot to
passport
mention Ed Tarantino won his
And the
race
big
against,
shocker,
That was also big.
That was a big one.
Ed Tarantino beat Butch Baker like 60-40 roughly.
I found out today that my mom voted for Ed, so we have that going for us.
She said she voted for him based upon his performance on this show.
On this show,
which led us to go,
wow,
we may have been the reason why we gave everybody attention, and we caused the overthrow of our government with this little podcast.
So yeah,
who knew how much power Dakota had?
The Henry County Revolution was you guys.
I keep saying that whenever I advertise the Patreon, that we are the independent media of Henry County. That is not a lie anymore.
It's not a lie anyways, because there's like one.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Well, there are 3 newspapers of record. You've got the Middletown paper, the Knightstown paper, and the Newcastle the Courier Times.
but those are not independent. Well, I guess they
Well,
are.
I mean, they're not owned by Viacom.
I'm going to start buying them all and just be like, these are mine.
Jesse is the media. Yeah, I want to see you get Henry County papers to the point where the commissioners have to come in and regulate you and break up Big Jesse.
Eric Cox would never sell the banner to me.
Break up Big Jesse. I want to point out that Jesse's the second candidate to ever drink on the show with us. The first one was Betsy
So
Mills.
we reveal it now that the election's over. Betsy Mills was drinking a little bit of Jack and Coke.
Nice.
No,
Well, Betsy Mills,
she was drinking straight. She was drinking straight Jameson.
Well, that was supposed to be a secret.
She's
Jesse,
she's tougher than I am.
So. Oh, no, back up. I've been a candidate for half of the show, like half the year,
well,
and
that's
I've drank
true.
on every episode.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever.
Ben Houchins says that they're at Blackacre and you're not. Jesse.
He's just doing that to torment me now.
I've never been
I literally
to
invite him every time I'm there. Well, you're invited.
Yeah,
All right,
I try to get Jesse to go out or Dakota to go out with me all the time.
So
He's very difficult. Since he got married, oh my God.
Well,
oh my God.
Audrey's allowed to come as well.
Audrey won't let him go anywhere.
Yeah, that's
I'm just waiting to hear.
Well, she'll be graduated.
Some yelling
so
from the other room.
She'll have a lot more time.
That's true.
We have the dogs.
That's why I don't get a dog.
Yeah.
Jeremiah's like the king of dog automation. Just let him.
We're getting
much
better.
Take the Jeremiah dog automation course, and you'll be fine.
That's funny.
Corinda Colby says, "Why aren't you guys at the council meeting?" We are not at the council meeting because they literally counter-programmed us. We have a standing Thursday night date, and
they should know by now.
At the county council meeting last month, they said they were either going to choose the 10th or the 15th. And they chose to counter-program the Ball Hog Liberty, even though they know we do the Thursday. But we're making it up because we got Mike Broyles down there as a correspondent, and he's going to call in, and we're going to have an update.
But Corinda, we do have Mike Broyles. You totally just stole that wind out of my sails.
I will turn my mic off.
Update.
I will turn my mic off, and you say what you want to say.
But my bullet that I wanted to make with the primary results was it was all of the quote-unquote anti-wind candidates that won. Which is going to make for a very interesting fall election, especially in the three-way races and the two-way races.
So we have at least 2 three-way races, and right now it looks like there's no Libertarian filed in District 1 or District 4 at this point.
Correct.
But we're looking.
And
we are looking.
And there is not one in the commissioner's race yet. In fact, there's no Democrat in the commissioner's race yet. So that race is wide open for Mr. Tarantino at the moment. But anybody, you can still file. You can contact, like we talked about on Tuesday, you can contact Dakota Davis, chairman, if you're interested in running.
Really, just contact any of us, because if you don't know how to get a hold of them.
Well,
they should be, because they are.
If you're watching this, you're pretty well plugged in.
You can send me a message on Facebook, or you can send me an email on henry@lpin.org.
There you go.
So that goes to my phone.
I love that that's working.
Yeah,
so here's the big news that we figured out.
Reading that. Hold up.
All right.
Nate lost his race as well, right?
Nate lost his season.
We didn't mention anything about it, so I was just making sure. I thought I heard that, but I wasn't positive.
Yeah, that happened.
I just want to make sure I hear that.
The big news is that you found out. Well, that you kind of made the connection.
I figured out that this council, if you look at it, is going to have 4 new members.
Correct.
Yep. Well, 3 new members, for sure.
For sure.
Yes. Where Nate is off the council, Steve is off the council, and Dick Bauslag is off the council.
Yep.
We don't know yet about Robin Reno Fleming. She and Chad Malacote are going to have a competitive race this fall.
They're going to duke it out.
So, and then there are 3 people that have at-large seats.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Thalls, who I would not expect to have him seek the presidency. Harold Griffin, who I would not expect to seek the presidency. That leaves in the majority, because right now it's a 5-2. You would expect the majority party to have the presidency. That leaves one man. And only one man, one counselor.
The one, the only, Clay Morgan.
Councilman Clay Morgan
of MVP Barbershop
is the president in waiting of the Henry County Council.
That's right.
He's like lifting up into
co-host. Co-host Clay is all of a sudden in line to ascend to the presidency of the Henry County Council.
It's just the sun. There's just sun shining. He's in a robe.
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
right.
I'm coming up. The ascension of Clay.
I can't wait to see. We need to make. I'm going to get on Photoshop, and I want to make like a Photoshop of maybe Susan Hoon's face and on Adam.
Where is this going?
Susan Hoon's face on Adam, and then Clay's face on God and Michelangelo's famous painting of him reaching his arm out. You know.
So let's talk a little bit about the live show and what happened. You call me the bull in China shop all the time, right? Like I knock. It's my thing I do is I knock stuff over.
You break things. You bought me extra glasses for my wedding because you had already broken like 3 of them.
I bought you glasses and I bought you ice trays because I'm just a destructive son of a gun.
Yeah, and you got really durable glasses too because you dropped one the other day and it didn't shatter.
So, but that happened. We sent Chase down to Primo at the tail end of our live show that we did on Tuesday night.
That's correct.
Chase comes in and had the greatest moment in the history of the show. He was like Kramer knocking the door open.
It was great.
The camera goes flying, hits the deck.
Which I want to point out, it probably wouldn't have been as big of a deal if he hadn't struggled so much with the door because there's a blanket over the door for sound purposes. And I used to have like a little curtain holder that was up in the corner, and Chase ripped that out.
Chase broke that the week before.
Yeah, the week before. So then he had a difficult time getting in the door this time and just tripped, knocked over the Mevo camera, and tried setting it up. Didn't realize that the Mevo itself had fallen off of the tripod.
So there's video of Chase just laughing at himself, and I got some screenshots and put them on the
greatest
live
thing
stream.
is whenever he picked it up, he picked it up and the camera lens was facing his face, so we could see him the whole time.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was the greatest thing ever.
Was that live? Was it?
It was on.
Yeah,
we were on. There were like 80 people watching live, and Chase comes barging in, knocks the camera over, and we're just like, "Oh no!"
I'll have to go find that.
And it goes falling to the ground.
But I was at a brewery at the time.
Yeah,
it was really good.
It was surreal.
You were at a brewery, okay, but Aaron Dicken was at the hospital while his wife was delivering their baby and was watching our live stream.
She's an absolute saint. She literally is in labor, delivering their third child, and Aaron Dicken is in the corner watching us talk about the election results.
Child. He's like, she's got it.
And then today, I'm sending him messages about the county council meeting that happened on Monday, and he's sending me messages, and I was like, oh, by the way, dude, congratulations on the baby. And he sends me a picture. They're still in the hospital,
right?
And he's sending me, and he's holding his baby while she's napping, and messaging me about the city council meeting.
That's awesome.
The dedication, man.
He's not the one that is. He not the one that was drawing the photos of or drawing the pictures of Jer.
No, that was Ross Ticknor.
Okay. Yeah, that was Ross.
I couldn't remember.
He also drew the Eric the Turkey.
Yep, he did.
Picture.
We forgot to give him credit for that because I stole it, and that is what I put on the T-shirt.
I was going to say you should have him put a signature underneath it.
Yeah, well, he's advertised it some.
What's going on over here? You guys are doing all kinds of work.
We talked about this on the live show. We are our own producers. Zach Lee raised his hand and said if he can ever get a day job, he wants to come in and be our producer. My dream, I have lots of dreams. My dream is for us, first of all, to get like a monthly sponsor for this show, so that this can be the ABC supply show.
That's like legitimately a company.
I know, it's really a company. Yeah.
Like ABC. Yeah,
we're constantly advertising. It could be the L&K Produce Studios.
Yeah.
It could be
we will
Jack's Donut
pour out
Studios.
your name, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be we could be the Boss Hog Liberty presented by Jack's Donuts.
Or
whatever.
For a monthly payment of, I don't know, $26,000 a month.
Yeah. Or we can. It's negotiable. It's negotiable, but we literally we are on the. If you want to talk to us about sponsorship opportunities, I think what we'd like to do is do it.
Joe Rogan.
A monthly sponsorship with somebody so that we can get into that studio on top of the Patreon and some other avenues we have.
I just want to point out that Joe Rogan, for each advertisement that he reads on his show, he does like 5 an episode. He charges $25,000.
Well, he has like millions of downloads.
Yeah.
What we have here, our video Tuesday night.
We're the #1 podcast in Henry County, dude.
I know.
Our video Tuesday night was 2,200 views already in a day and a half.
It's awesome.
It's surreal, the reach we have, and people are actually paying attention and listening.
And that's just on Facebook.
It literally could be your business here presenting the Boss Hog of Liberty.
Yeah.
In the Your Name Here studios.
I'll do everything short of getting a tattoo on my forehead of your business.
So on the website, do you have a way to do you have
you can inquire
a form for
just reach out to us.
We have the Patreon account. There's some business setups there, so.
We've got some options.
If you want to know our pricing, you can get help on there and see it.
Gotcha.
But the goal is to get that done and to get a studio, and we could do some sponsor activation. We could make some videos demonstrating your product, eat something on the air. We can do some product placement.
Do all kinds of things.
We can change our insurance company as we talk.
Get price quotes.
Yeah. Like, hey, let's price out my boat insurance. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Just have Clay come cut hair while you're on the show.
We've thought about that.
Jesse,
I want Clay to be our first
Jesse,
sponsor.
will you get a fresh fade for the show?
No.
Give up the Jesus cut.
We're rocking
the Thomas
this thing
Jefferson
all the way through the election.
You've got more hair than anybody else in the council race.
Yep. Probably.
Interesting.
I didn't see Peg, so.
Yeah, I think you've got more.
I think so.
We let it down for us live on the air. Will you put it over the shoulder?
with the beard, I think you do.
I should be able to do have a nice coat. I don't know what they call those things back in the day,
a vest.
No, like Thomas Jefferson's wearing, and I have a musket in one of my photos. I just think that'd be pretty funny.
That would be awesome.
Do you get comments at work now, or do they just you work in the tech industry, so they don't expect much out of you anyway?
Yeah, no, my hair's fairly mild. compared to others. It's at least brushed.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I can't imagine. I watch Silicon Valley. You don't watch Silicon Valley because you think it's cheap comedy.
That is very cheap comedy.
Yeah,
I would agree with that, Jesse.
Very sad.
They don't have to work very hard.
Very sad. By the way, Arrested Development is getting rebooted. I hope you guys all see that. They're coming out with another season next month.
So is the poster on the wall there, the Rick
and Morty got
poster,
picked up for 70 more episodes. I saw that.
That's 7 seasons.
That's a lot of
That'll
episodes.
take them well over 100. So I'm excited about that one.
But I'm excited about Arrested Development, though.
Yeah.
So in the
this is not local news. This is nationwide.
This is big for everybody.
This is how it affects us all.
Not only did Arrested Development get picked up for another season, but they also remixed the weird 4th season that they made.
Oh, so they remixed
it. They remixed it into just regular chronological 30-minute episodes.
Oh, good.
So you can go back and watch it and be like, yeah, now it makes sense.
Oh, see, I thought it was genius the way that.
You've got it both ways. You can have it country and western. You can have we follow Dakota's story only.
Like those are the same.
Those are the same thing. Tomato, tomato.
You can have it country or western. That's it.
We play both kinds of music, country and western.
I feel like that's the same
joke.
thing.
That's the joke. Thank you for being such a literalist that you don't get it.
You can have thrash metal, or death metal.
Yeah. Those are a little bit different.
All right. So the Primo night for Chase. Yep. We sent him down there and we talked to him afterwards, and he's like, "Guys, I was terrified.
He was
completely terrified. He's never done anything like that before in his life.
Nope.
He's never been an interviewer.
Poor Chase. We sent him out in the wild on his own.
We just voluntold him. Like he didn't raise his hand and be like, "Hey, can I go do this?" We're like, "No, we're sending Chase." And Chase is like, "Oh."
It was like in the middle of a live episode too.
That's awesome.
We were like, "Yeah, we're gonna be sending Chase down to Primo," and Chase is like, "Guys, I might be in Florida." We're like, "No, you're not. Nope. You're going to Florida Thursday."
Did you guys pay for his meal or anything? Or
so the Republicans paid for his meal.
Nice.
And I heard that he hit the
limit.
He hit the buffet hard.
Oh, he hit the buffet.
Yeah.
That was a buffet. Nice.
Yeah, I heard he had at least 3 trips.
Yeah,
nice.
which Chase is a Republican, so it kind of fits the bill. We haven't convinced him to join our side yet with craft beer and
like
brownies and.
I don't know. He was willing to sell his body today for the studio.
That's pretty.
That's pretty Republican.
I said that's $15 in the bucket for us. Yeah. So we've got we sent Chase down there, and everybody was. I think we saw some pictures of him. He was kissing babies and doing it all, being the local celebrity. He wore his Boss Hog Liberty shirt, or Dakota's Boss Hog Liberty. Have you disinfected that yet?
It's in the washer.
Did you get the Chase off of him?
Yeah. We'll see.
So, and then
this is the first time it's been washed.
This is the first, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've just.
So you gave it to him dirty.
Yeah. Well,
he goes, yeah.
I've the only times I've worn it have been like during 45-minute long meetings.
I was hoping you were saying when I'm mowing the yard or working
like twice, and then I've just thrown it in the dryer and got it, smelling good.
There you go.
I guess I'm not. I pretty much wash it every time.
Interesting. I try to save water around here, do my part for the planet Earth.
Mike Broyles is giving me hell in the chat and says everybody that lives in White Estates is here except for you. Absolutely everybody but me. Oh, that's all right.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about these new voting booths and the new voting system.
Yeah, I was actually wanting to ask about it.
Yeah, so we spent $1 bajillion on some new voting equipment.
iPads.
Yeah,
they're like iPads, yeah, but they also have printers.
iPads, so they're not iPads.
Well, I think they have iPads at the front gate, but then the actual machines are another device. There are multiple devices involved.
Gotcha.
But there's an iPad with a scanner that drives
a GTAC, a GTAC tablet, maybe.
That was a lot of thinking.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. But yeah, you go in. Whenever you go in, the first person who signs you in is going to be. She's holding one of these right here, and then.
I guess what's print your ballot or whatever, right?
No,
not prints, but
they already have the ballots pre-printed. You go and you stick it in a feeder at the booth, at the actual booth, which I did not like how low the sides were.
So you went and voted?
Yes, I went and voted.
Interesting.
We're Dakota and I are both openly hoping that we get charged. We want to be the first convicted felons for voting in a primary.
I want to take this to the state, baby.
We want.
So
this is gonna.
Voted.
I took a Republican ballot. I paid for it.
Evil people.
I want to see. I want to see if I get charged.
Do you realize how good our ratings are going to be after we take this to the bank with Liberty Defender Sean Rao?
We're not paying him. We're getting Sean for free. We're going to let the county pay for that. We're not going to, unless we get some Patreon money. I don't think we can afford Sean, so we're going to take the free Sean.
The free Sean.
Legitimately, what my thought was that I know there's not going to be a libertarian in every race, and
right.
I wanted to maximize my chances, being as educated as possible, to have a liberty-leaning person in
I think
office.
that's why we have open primaries. I think that's what they try to accomplish.
The other part of that, and what we learned from Susan Hoon when she ran as an independent last time, as long as you've voted in the Republican or the Democrat primary, they absolutely cannot throw you off the ballot. No matter what they want to do, you voted in the primary.
That's true.
So Dakota could run for mayor of Newcastle as a Republican, even if the Republicans absolutely hate his guts. He's a Republican in good standing because he took the stupid ballot and played by those rules. So he cannot be ejected from the ballot.
So you voting makes you a Republican on paper?
Correct.
On paper, you are eligible to run as a Republican candidate. The last time I had voted in a primary was 2008, which apparently would have still had me as a Republican in good standing, because that's the only thing that they look at is what party's primary did you vote in last.
Right.
And I would have voted in 2008 in the Rush County primary.
It took them 10 years, but I finally it was hearing that I was going to be voting.
It felt disgusting. I don't ever want to do it again.
They said, "What ballot do you want?" And I was like, "Republican."
I didn't say Republican. I said Team Elephant, and because I didn't want to admit that I was one of them, because so I went in and I said, Team Elephant. I told Nancy Dietz. Nancy Dietz was one of the poll workers at the Arts Center.
Yeah.
So Nancy, one of our Patreon folks, I'm like, oh my God, I've been found out already. I go in and there's Nancy looking at me. Well, it's not a secret.
Yeah, I did see that there were in a couple of public forums in the county and also in the Courier-Times, there were some people that were pretty unhappy with the voting machines. I liked it.
Well,
it was really fast. I was in
fine.
and out of there in 10 minutes.
What you did have is you get a printout that you can look at. You can look at it on the screen and review it, and then it prints. There's like a thermal printer that puts it on the card stock. You can review it yourself, and then you put it into a machine. So they electronically view what you put in, but there's also a paper copy it's really not paper. It's a card stock copy.
A hard
like
copy.
The craziest system.
It seems like it, doesn't it?
There are 3 devices involved.
Why is there paper involved?
Because they want to be able to go back and manually look at them if there's a freak out, because people want paper. So you at the head counter, you show your photo ID, and they scan it, and then they authenticate, and then ask you like 4 times, is this really your address?
And you say no every time.
And you say, it's on there, isn't it?
It does seem like a lot of unnecessary cost to have the paper and the things that print the paper, but whatever.
No, I'm glad they're fixing it.
At the vote center,
it was a lot better system.
At the vote center I went to, there were probably a dozen machines set up. There were 12 locations in the county to vote, and you can go to any one you choose at this point.
Do we know how much we spent? I know, like Peg said, she had a.
I think they spent about $800,000 on the equipment. Between $700,000 and $800,000 on the equipment.
Yeah,
that's a lot of iPads.
iPads and tech, man.
That's right.
But I mean, we all know about I don't know if I know somewhere we didn't talk about it, but how you and I helped. We all 3 helped count votes at our.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
this is kind of like a segue back to.
So maybe
so
we need to raise about $800,000 for the LPIN.
We will not use paper.
When we did our primary, our convention, our state convention, we had printed ballots ahead of time.
Yep.
That had all the declared candidates, and then you wrote in people that didn't get their paperwork on time, that were true libertarians, and said at the last minute, "No, I want to run. I'll run. I'll be on there." So then everybody had to write down their intent. So there were 6 of us that tallied up about 130 votes, and they were 4-page documents.
Oh yeah.
And there were about 25 races.
It was nuts. And then there was
Jesse and I were tallying partners.
And then there was one person who got thrown off the ballot before, so his votes ended up not counting.
That wasn't explained to all of the tallying teams.
Yeah, not until we're halfway through it.
Jesse and I had tallied all of ours.
It did get a little bit.
I don't want to say the names of everybody that was helping to tally, but 2 teams were very strong, and 1 team did like 10.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need a better system.
We need a much better system
because that is not.
And it was
fly.
irritated. We missed like half of the business meeting.
Yeah,
we missed the bylaws, so that was okay.
Right.
Missing the bylaws was fine because that's.
We didn't get to vote on
the worst part for me.
Have any part of the
delegate voting.
Yeah,
the national party.
Yeah,
the national convention.
They choose Indiana because of the number of people they have. They had like 29 delegates to the national convention. That happens in New Orleans in July. We sent a ton of people from Henry County. We sent nobody to the national convention. We're like, we just want to play at the state level.
Yeah.
None of our people are like, I'm going to go to New Orleans.
Well, yeah.
I probably would have.
You would if you didn't have your marriage.
If I didn't have
you
that
and
marriage,
I talked about going.
I would have gone.
I would have gone if I had
ago.
enough vacation days for work. That was the only thing holding me back. Because of Jeremiah's bachelor party, I'm fresh out.
Fresh out.
I think you and I are gonna have more fun in Nashville than we would have in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
I think we're gonna be okay.
If you could mimic it in that, like New Orleans, I think you would have a.
We could try.
I'm pretty sure it's possible to mimic Nashville and New Orleans.
We can always go back to New Orleans without a Libertarian National Convention to hold us down.
I want to go down there one time and just try the crawfish because I love crawfish and any type of Cajun food, and
have you come
that's
to
like a
Paparoo
dream
with
of
us?
mine.
Why have you not come to Paparoo with us?
I don't even know what that is.
I know.
The only good Cajun place
Paparoo,
that I know of around
Acre,
here is Yats. So
not even close.
I love Yats.
You need to tell Audrey that you need a man day with me and Jer. We're gonna load up the Suburban or whatever the hell it is, and
the Tahoe. You mean
the Tahoe?
It's something Chevrolet.
If I ever get it fixed. Oh man! All right. So the voter turnout. We were going to try to cover that and discuss that a little bit.
Yeah. So the Henry County's voter turnout was actually statewide in the primary was 15%. So, which is horrible. Henry County.
It's not horrible because 15% of the people say that they're Republican or Democrat. That's great for libertarians.
We also went.
Well, but mostly in protest. Mostly just tempting arrest. Come at me, Joe.
Voter apathy is a real thing.
But maybe that is why Henry County was at 23% versus the 15% statewide.
Because you and I showed up.
I think that a lot of it had to do, the incredibly low voter turnout had to do with how horrible all of the Senate candidates were. Honestly, on the Republican side. Every single one of them were horrible.
Yeah.
So I think that discouraged a lot of people.
More attention to that than I did.
So you looked at the three Republican candidates they had, and you had three different line items, right?
Yeah.
You had Todd Rokita, who was an absolute turd, and nobody liked him. He was unlikable. Like you just wanted to hate the guy.
He was making English the official language, so.
And then you had Luke Messer, who had the drunk driving thing come out as he was trying to replace. He was convicted of drunk driving twice. And he was when he was elected state rep or appointed state rep, he was replacing a guy who had been killed by a drunk driver like that week.
Wow.
And he didn't release that. So that was pretty damning on top of him voting for Omnibus. So those two things really cost him a lot of votes, and that's why one of the reasons why he finished third.
And then you had Mike the Rhino Braun.
And then you had Mike Braun, who voted in the Democrat primary for 38 years in a row. For 38 years he had pulled a Democrat ballot, then became a Republican to run for state representative, and he's been a Republican for like the last 6 years.
And he voted for a slew of new taxes whenever he was in the state house. So
he's a Democrat running as a Republican?
Correct.
Roughly.
So basically,
but
on your ballot
in
your ballot in the fall, you have two Democrats and a Republican.
Right.
Two John Gregg type Democrats.
You have two
California Republicans.
And you have Lucy.
That's why I said
Lucy
two Democrats and a Libertarian.
You said a Republican.
Oh, I did.
Were you calling Lucy a Republican?
No, I wasn't.
She's going to kick your ass.
Come at me, Lucy. I'll
boy.
take you on. I'll put up
a just like kick the door in now. And
here comes Lucy with an AR.
There's too much Wi-Fi here.
Oh my God.
I'm vaccinated, okay?
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Well, there went 5 of your Patreon subscribers.
Yeah.
That would be awesome if you could watch it in real time.
We can. We can pull up the phone and see it now.
They come in.
Everybody's really bearish on the Boss Hog of Liberty right now.
Zach Lee joined the chat. I heard that there's a rumor he might run for state representative again.
I heard that rumor
in District
as well.
54.
I feel like we've been whispering in his ear.
There's a possibility that he already has the signs.
I saw him at Mexican the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and his girl.
His fiance.
That's pretty much all that happened.
I tried to sweeten the pot today. I sent him a gift for his wedding today. Did you do that too, Dakota? You said jump on Bed Bath & Beyond and send him something real nice on account of us needing to put those signs out again in November.
Give him like a fancy car wash gift card.
I told him we have a sign hanging up in here, so the writing is literally on the wall.
I'm just saying, the fans of the Boss Hog of Liberty, all you have to do is jump on Bed Bath & Beyond's website, find the Zach Lee getting married in 2018 in Indiana registry, and send him a little something, and put on there District 54. Just as the thank you, as the line, just right on there, awesome. District 54. Send him a spoon. 54. Just send him something simple, but find Zach Lee.
Well, you
Indiana wedding.
It's not so much for Zach's sake, but I think that we have to sweeten the deal for the future Mrs. Lee.
I want to know this. Actually, this is the thing. This is a call out right now for all of our listeners. Jump onto his wedding registry, and I want you to just do D54 as the thing that's on there. And I want to hear how many spoons and ladles.
I was going to say, can you send
and
whatever
can openers
you
he gets? Well, there's a registry.
No, I know. I understand there's a registry, but can you be like, I just want to send them something different?
I'm sure you probably could. It's probably possible.
Just find a cheap rubber ducky.
Zach's going to be just buried in $2 gift.
We can get him a Boss Hog Liberty duvet cover.
They probably get on Alibaba
custom.
For that.
It's going to be like the.
And we have it on our shop on Redbubble.com.
We do.
Okay. Yeah, it's in the portfolio.
How's the Redbubble work?
What do you mean?
So, how does somebody, if they want to buy some Boss Hog Liberty gear?
So you go to Redbubble.com. That's literally Redbubble.com, and then you search BHOL, just BHOL in all caps, and you can find our portfolio. We have 3 different portfolios with our 2 different logos. The cover art and the one over here by Jeremiah, and then you also have tinfoil time merchandise as well. So it's a slew of things. Everything's really good quality on Redbubble. It's so much better than T-chip level stuff.
What is Redbubble, or what is tinfoil time, Dakota?
It's not happening this week. Wait.
No, what is tinfoil time?
What is tinfoil time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tinfoil Time is your source for all things conspiracy that's put on by my wife Audrey and myself. That is only available to people who subscribe on Patreon. It's changed to any level of subscriber now. So it used to be
$5 a month. You can get in.
Yep. It used to be only $10 a month, but now $5 a month that's 17 cents a day, Jesse. 17 cents a day.
I'm feeding dogs.
You could literally scrounge around you and your friends' couches every day. And find that.
Well, I'm gonna go look in your couch then.
Well, you can do that. I'll be the first. I'll be the first one. But you get access to tinfoil time, all of our raw audio. $10 a month gets you the behind the scenes video that we got. So
Brent Spicer is freaking out in the chat that
that's
Brent, another week without tinfoil time. We did 2.5 hours without bathroom breaks on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That was the moment of time that they record tinfoil time was the time we did the live show.
I had a bathroom break. So.
Okay. Well, now you're just bragging. I was so punch drunk at the end of that show trying to hold it together. I had one drink and I was out and I was like my mouth was going dry and I'm looking around the room going, I'm trapped. I can't get out. The results are going to come in at any second, and I don't even have a drink. I'm going to lose my voice.
I was watching, I think I fast forwarded it because I missed it or something. But Jared's just he's just he's like, we're going to get him any moment. He's just the frustration was super apparent in his
by
face.
The end of it, he was reading through the candidates and stuff, and just kept saying stuff wrong. And I was like, he is exhausted.
Yeah. I worked all day. We're 2.5 hours in. This studio, I know it looks amazing, but it's a freaking hot box.
It's pretty warm.
I wore a long sleeve shirt trying to look nice.
We have the really heavy curtains, and we also have draper shades behind the curtains. We also have it's literally insulated everywhere, and there is one vent that it was put in 1914. It's just and a fan.
Yeah.
What's up there?
That's baffling. This is a podcast, so we can't just point and be like, "What's that? That's an airplane."
Well, I know about that leaves a mystery. Is that everybody will want to know what it is sometime.
Well, if you go back and watch the,
so that's more soundproofing on the ceiling. So
there's cardboard.
There's cardboard underneath it,
all right,
and then a blanket that I bought from Walmart that I cut in half
Oh, I have one of those
sides of the room.
Get the Skype ready. Mike's going to call in 1 minute.
I'll say we're on that part of the...
It should pop up whenever he calls.
It's going to really? It's going to do that?
Yep, it'll do that.
All right.
It does it automatically.
Man, I'm waiting patiently.
Did you guys test this chain yet? Since you changed the recorder?
This shouldn't matter. Yeah. This part should be fine.
All right, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, Jesse.
The live stream will get it.
Yeah, that's what.
Did you guys test this chain?
Now we got boot loop here.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it should work out fine. Eric Lee just joined the chat. Eric, you need to renew your LPIN membership. I looked today. You're lapsed. You're not going to get your newspaper next month.
So we're actually only at 18.
Yeah. Well, he's going to expire.
Oh, okay.
He's at risk.
We're still at 19. So Kirsten, that means you or Betsy. I'll take Betsy too. I really like Betsy.
Does
Miller.
Betsy have a Does Betsy have an email list I could possibly obtain?
Betsy is on the board of the American Freedom Foundation, the AFF events in Indianapolis that they were doing. She was involved with that with Chloe and Agnos.
Nice.
The older and
Ball State.
Never been on the show in Agnos compared to Kat. Yeah, Betsy went to Ball State. Chloe went to Ball State.
Okay. Oh no, sorry. Peg said she went and then left and went to AU and then came.
She went to AU. Yeah.
I've been like
you've been crash
binging.
coursing.
I've been binging on the Ball Sog of Liberty episodes, so I'm trying to
yeah. So we're waiting at any moment. We're expecting that phone call from Mike Broyles.
Yeah, we're expecting a call from. Oh, I forgot to mention whenever we were talking about the voter turnout, we had 8,000 people in Henry County pick up a Republican ballot, and roughly 8,000, and then 3,000 people pick up a Democrat ballot, and that's pretty interesting. It shows really a breakdown of the demographic here in Henry County. But interestingly enough, our city council races always seem to be heavily Democrat. So
that's interesting to you?
It is interesting to me. Because it really shows even in a small city like Newcastle, there's still the rural and urban divide there. So
that's
no doubt
pretty common. I think on this side of Indiana.
Jesse's from very, very Democratic Shirley. So that whole town is run by the Teamsters.
That's definitely not true. There's a lot of Trump signs in that town.
Aaron Dicken says it was an awful turnout.
My parents.
Well, our turnout was 8% higher in Henry County than it was across the state of Indiana.
It is insane.
That's the reality. Is that if you voted in that primary and you're not a Republican or Democrat like Dakota and I did, we are set up to be felons. We could be convicted felons.
It's a
because
level
of the ridiculous rules.
It's a level 3
have.
felony. It's pretty much you can get out of it at any time because the code only says that you intend to vote for the majority of that party's candidates. So it's a really loosely worded law.
At that moment in time,
any lawyer worth his salt could get you out, and definitely Sean Rao could get you out. So
he's not paying you guys to promote him yet. So
nah, I just like Sean.
I know you're looking for sponsors.
Sean's been a guest on here twice so far.
And I've listened to
Liberty Defender to the Stars.
He's our third highest rated episode.
The question
I remember hearing
what are we going to do, Dakota, if we get arrested and charged and we stand trial?
I can't wait.
Do we want separate trials?
No, you just end the show.
Or do we want it together?
You end the show just like Seinfeld.
Just like Seinfeld.
The Ball Hog is over.
It's done.
No,
we got the H6. We can sneak this into the jail.
Yeah, we'll sneak it in. I'll hold it underneath of my coat jacket.
Okay, because I was thinking really sneaking it in. I was like, I'm not doing that.
It's a little bit big.
It's much bigger than the H2.
Yeah. I have not
funny.
had enough to drink for that.
That's funny. We'll go to B-dubs after this. Aaron Dicken, you want to go to B-dubs after? No, it was a pretty bad voter turnout all across the state for the primary, but we did end up voting. We're going to talk. I think after we talk to Mike, at least we're going to talk about the Monday, the May 7th. The city council, city of Newcastle, had a meeting, and it was a pretty big meeting. They talked about the 1400 Plaza there, and as well as how they're going to fund that, the grant that they applied for the wastewater treatment plant, which is a huge project. And then there was also some law enforcement.
What is the 1400 Plaza?
1400 Plaza is the big empty parking lot near the Jennings building.
Do you know where the Early Bird Diner is?
Yeah, right behind it.
Yeah, between the Jennings building and the Early Bird Diner.
So that's why they have 14th
right,
Street
which is
closed
where
right
they
now.
were trying to remember. They're trying to like.
Now, of course, this
displace
is a
general
national
alignment.
show. So if somebody goes right now, if you're wondering what in the hell we're talking about, go to Google Maps, Newcastle, Indiana, and look at. We joke about 14th Street and why is it closed all the time. Look at 14th Street and Broad Street, and just to the north and the east of that intersection is the big empty lot that is 1400 Plaza.
Which I guess that it's closed because of the Jennings building.
Yeah, it's
And-
been under construction.
for like 3 years.
Yeah. And
We've been
there's
trying to get some hero city councilmen to clear the street and open it up on their own, but we're still waiting.
Well, there's going to be an exit from the Jennings building on that side, and by code there's not enough room between that exit and the road, so they're going to have.
So they're going to shut down the whole road.
Well, what they're going to have to do is put a curve in the road now, as the way it sits now.
No, just close it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, just
but
make it a one-way and make you like jog.
that makes a lot of people upset, Jesse.
You know what? It's better than a curb that everyone's going to hit.
Aaron Dicken's calling it the pit in reference to Parks and Recreation.
Fill in the pit.
Yeah.
We just need someone to go down there and break their leg like Andy Dwyer.
I'm gonna take my tent out there the next free weekend I have and just move in. I'm gonna be the homeless person. I'm gonna be the.
Will Sean Rao have my back? I don't know why we're listening to Aaron's comments. I think that's a $10 a month Patreon service that we have to honor.
I think
surely we
I
pay
think
him
Sean
enough on the
has
city
to have your
council.
back by law. He has to give you a somewhat competent defense. But I think my plan would be we should just camp out there. We were going to chain smoke. We talked about this. I think we talked about this at the Libertarian Convention.
Well, you have the Zoom 4. Now you can podcast live from there.
We've got the 6. Yeah, we could podcast from
Or
live.
sorry, whatever.
From 1400 Plaza or the future
my
1400
phone,
Plaza.
Yeah.
But we did mention that we threatened on the show to chain smoke outside City Council headquarters.
I was looking forward to it. I was going to take
that jackbooted thug Aaron Dicken and his smoking ban he was trying to pass.
I was going to take big old stogies out there, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and just get out there and get with it, man. But alas, that's not going to happen.
So are you guys are you guys talking to this Mike guy?
We're tap dancing. We're tap dancing right now. At any second, we expect a phone call to come
the results, and any time he will call.
We're used
stay
to
on
this.
the line.
We're going to try.
We're used to this.
Oh, Mike.
So I can tell you that we received. He wants us to call. You call that number there. You want me to write that down for you?
Yeah, write it down for me, Jer.
There you go. Talking.
There's going to be some dead space on this part.
So right now, Jer is writing down a phone number.
It starts with a 7.
And we will be calling Mike.
It starts with a 7 and ends with a 3. Jeremiah, you make your 8s with the 2 circles. I hate that.
He has.
Didn't they teach you
He
that?
has a very feminine handwriting.
I learned how to write in New York State. I was
in your mom's house.
I remember. I distinctly remember.
My mom's house. There's something wrong.
Do you
with
remember
that.
learning to write, Jesse?
I do.
Yeah, I distinctly remember like the books and be like, "Nah, I'm not using that." There's a variant. I'm like,
there was like dotted paper.
That's
like,
the 8 I'm going to choose.
Yeah, like it was like a really crappy newspaper. Like, and they had prints like lines so that you'd have to like make sure they like intersected at all the perfect places.
Yes.
Ooh, that's loud. Hello.
I think it's only allowed in our ears.
I'm
It's
turning
not
him down a
peaking.
touch.
You're okay.
Good evening, guys.
Good
Hey,
evening,
Mike. How is it?
Great. Sitting out here on the front porch right now.
So you're sitting on your front porch in somewhere within city limits of Newcastle, Indiana.
Somewhere north of Q Avenue, yeah.
Nice.
You have much better reception today. When we talked to you on Tuesday night, it was pretty rough, but you sound crystal clear today for the podcast.
Great. Now, that was Chase, and it was a little bit noisy up there, and Broad Street's not the best reception area.
We know he was pretty lit. We heard reports that he was pretty well hammered anyway.
He was good shape.
That's awesome.
So
All right, so give me this breakdown. I want to know what's going on with Jeremiah's sewers.
Well, I think Jeremiah pretty well had it covered. They had everybody from Umball, Ice Miller. I think it's Union that's doing the surveying, isn't it? Have you got one of those letters, Jeremiah?
Yeah, I got an engineering letter. It's a
Yeah.
There's some engineering company that was hired to come in and do to actually develop the plan.
Yeah. Kim Cronk basically ran the meeting, They had the engineer speak, the mayor spoke, and basically it's a $6.4 million project with a $4 million grant from the state that's forgivable. And I think, as you said, just about a $35 average bill can, if you're not filling your pool like some people, your bill will only go up $35 a month. And the grinder pump is in that $6.4 million. Well, there'll be no charge to the homeowners, and the only charges will be hooking up your sewer line from your home to the grinder pumps, the way I understand it.
So do the homeowners get to do that on their own, or do they have to pay the county to hook that up, or how's that slated to work? Was that revealed in the
No,
plan?
I think the way I understood it, I think there'll be a list of certified plumbing people that will be able to do that for you, and the homeowner will take care of that.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Jesse, Dakota, and Jeremiah job on a Saturday night with some Bud Lights.
I am not doing that.
You know how to go, Jesse. He'll send you a text that says, "Hey, Are you busy Saturday?"
Are you busy? Like, no, why? What's up? And he's like, we're going to do some work. And you're like, dang it.
Yep.
Isn't that the problem out at White Estates now?
That's right. A bunch of guys got together and put in some tile, and here we are with a $6 million problem. So when
I believe so.
When are they going to close my road and ruin my life for 2 years? When's this all going to happen?
Yeah, you won't be able to get out of White Estates the way I understand it.
Unless you have a mountain bike.
On sometimes.
I read on the internet there's 5 exits. I don't know what you're talking about.
There you go.
I only know 2, 3.
The project could start as soon as December of 2018 and supposed to be finalized by August of 19. So pretty quick process, it sounds like.
I mean, hell, it takes that long to even decide what we're doing at Memorial Park. So within
there you go.
Within 14 or 15 months, the whole thing's going to be done. And then I assume that the county's going to give us back a nice gravel road.
Well, it didn't sound like I didn't quite understand that, but they said shallow lines, so there won't be a lot of deep digging. I don't know how you do shallow lines, but maybe the grinder pump helps that situation out. But they'll be basically using the sewer lines that are in there that were connected to the city, and then some of the I don't know what to call it, pirated lines that are out there will be for drainage of White Estates into the creek down on Southview.
So long term, we're going to have new working sewers, and maybe the neighborhood's going to get drained a little bit better. Was there any talk from the city council or the county council about annexation, or did they skip over that possibility?
No, the mayor definitely said annexation won't come out of his mouth. Now, I don't know whether that allows anybody else to do that or not, but no, they don't. He does not want that. He brought that up before anybody else did.
At least publicly.
He doesn't want to have to deal with me as a constituent. I can see it already.
Well, he doesn't want to be called out for not living in Newcastle either. So
he's already got me to deal with.
That's
what I don't understand. You guys get all the city services, but don't have to pay the taxes.
We don't get all the city services. I have to pay for my own trash, but I pay for city water and city sewer. But apparently, nobody owns my sewer line. Nobody did it. Nobody owns it. It just exists.
So what's funny is when this first became a thing, I was on the podcast that day.
Yeah,
because we talked about it. So this is kind of
full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It just exists, but it also drains into your community pool. So
right.
So Mike, you attended 2 meetings tonight. You attended this city council and county council meeting, but there was also a LOIT meeting, a local option income tax, trying to figure out how to spend that money. What came out of that today?
Nothing there. They've come up with a matrix of, and I don't know where this came from, Sheriff McCorkle, or whether this is something the council has worked on over time, but trying to figure out how to use that and maybe try to limit how, just like the Bluntsville Fire Department station how to limit that of everybody coming up and wanting $50,000 for their new station or $50,000 for equipment.
Right.
But Sheriff McCorkle asked for a possible review of a $250 per year longevity pay increase for his deputies. And he brought up that it's the pay rate for state policemen is like $14,000 more per year than the sheriff's department. And the Newcastle Police Department pays $2,000 more per year for their officers than what the Henry County road officers get.
So that proposal,
and
you would have like an extra, if you got a 30-year officer, they'd add another $7,500 a year to his pay, roughly.
I think what Rick was looking at was there was some kind of limitation, but I didn't hear all that. It wouldn't start until after 5 years of service.
So,
and then there was a certain amount of time after that there would be a cap, I think, to it. But don't hold me to that one. I couldn't hear very well. You know how the acoustics are up there.
So I don't want to sound like the bad guy here, but we have a horrible jail right now. They are there have been people who have passed through the primary, multiple people who have passed through the Republican primary that have already talked about raising our taxes to pay for the jail. I don't think that this is really the appropriate time to start talking about pay raises whenever we already have that funding issue.
And that came up. Clay Morgan talked about the other departments, all the courthouse employees and all the other county officials maybe wanting raises too once the sheriff's department received a raise. So I think that's why they're just studying that. There was no motions made or anything like that tonight.
Okay.
To bring that up. But yes, the jail was brought up also, and Sheriff McCorkle talked about that quite a bit. And I think the study is supposed to be coming up sometime in June that the Colorado firm that has been going over the jail for the last, year and a half.
Yeah.
Supposed to be bringing their study in June and get updated on some dates on that from Commissioner Kronk.
All right. Well, Mike, thank you very much for the update.
One other thing,
yes,
Jeremiah. This was just kind of an informational thing for the White Estates residents, and I think May 22nd at 7:00. They'll announce that more, but they're planning on having another meeting to get more in detail and for receiving questions from White Estates residents. So be looking for that, and don't schedule anything, Jeremiah.
We schedule like 6 weeks in advance on this show, Mike. We've already got a show scheduled that night too. That's Rice Night with Mike McCown.
Yeah.
I can't miss that.
I know, it's going to be big time. The field will be set for the race. I swear.
I'll have to listen to that one. I won't be able to attend the meeting about White Estates. I'll have to listen to McCown.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for calling in and letting us know what's going on down there. We appreciate you. Of course, we've got this new board, so we can do these phone calls now. This wouldn't have been possible 2 weeks ago, but thanks for filling in for Chase as he's down in Florida, being our reporter on the scene, Mike.
That's life. That's life. No problem. Thanks, guys.
All right. Good talking to you.
All right.
Where's our hang up button? Do we have one?
That's cool.
He clicked on his own.
There we go.
All right. Couple last things from the city council meeting that you wanted to cover, Dakota.
Yeah,
there was
so we talked about your issues. I want to talk about where I live for a minute.
Oh man.
No, so we on the subject of law enforcement agents, of course, I sounded like the bad guy proposing that they shouldn't get their raises right now, but we did have some sheriff's deputies and some city police officers that were given awards for acts of bravery and camaraderie at the last city council meeting. We do have, I think is it next week's show that we have Brandy Pierce.
Next week, Brandy Pierce and Matt Pierce. Matt's a detective with the Henry County Sheriff's Department, and Brandy is an officer with the Newcastle Police Department, the canine officer. They're both scheduled to join us next Thursday to talk about law enforcement and the need for a replacement of a canine.
Yep, and they're doing that. They're replacing their canine all through privately funded donations. I want to give a shout out to all 8 officers that were awarded at the meeting. Of course, the first one is Brandy Pierce. She was given an award, and then Justin Wardlow, Brandon Edstein, Chase Koger, Nick Rhodes, Blake Thrasher, Adrian Darling, and Aaron Strong. They were all awarded. Our last 3 there, I think, were actually sheriff's deputies, and then the other ones were all members of the Newcastle Police Department. So. Congratulations to those guys.
Jonathan Phillips is a Henry County Sheriff's Reserve deputy, and he's in the chat here, and he's stating it from the market side. We, as Henry County, become the trading ground for other departments. We pay for training, and then they leave for somewhere else because we don't have competitive pay.
Right. Yeah, I definitely see that.
It's a difficult conversation to have, and at the same time, you realize the house is on fire, too, and we've got a jail that's potentially going to lead us to getting sued.
Well, and it's a balancing act, just like everything is. But I appreciate him saying I'm not a bad guy.
Nope, Dakota's terrible, for sure. Dakota is he's one of the worst around. Finally, once they get this White Estates thing fixed, that water goes down to the water treatment plant down off Midway Drive.
Yeah.
At the end of that, and apparently they want to spend some more money down there too. What's your story on that?
Well, that was the other thing. It's actually been the wastewater treatment plant's been brought up at a lot of meetings here recently because it also is in very poor condition as of right now. They had an inspection go through, failed an inspection, which this type of project is something that really piques my interest because back whenever I was an electrician, this is the type of job that would have been right up my alley. I love working in these types of industrial settings, and this is what they have to do. So they just applied for an OKRA grant, which we talked about that
Office
on the
of
show.
Community and Rural Affairs.
Rural Affairs, yeah. We talked about that a few months ago on the show whenever they first applied for it. Well, they're going to receive it. It's $600,000. The city has to match $150,000 of that. If you've noticed, Aaron Dicken, my water bill has been going up significantly. I don't know if it's to pay for that or not, but I just wanted to give Aaron some crap.
All of the stormwater separation that the EPA required.
So they do have that. They're going to be able to give some very needed updates to the wastewater treatment facility.
So far, you've received 2 of your 3 increases. I believe next year we got 1 more increase coming our way.
We have 1 more. It's already really high, and they didn't pick up my trash last week. So
I'm going through the same thing for similar.
In Knightstown, you're in the town of Knightstown.
Yep.
So,
and you, the land baron, you have 2 homes, 2 residences.
2 residences.
It says we find
upstairs
out
and downstairs.
Find out in August, and then the 1400 Plaza, which is the deal of. The second deal of the century, the Doughboys, the first, of course.
So as I understand it, the 1400 Plaza is this government boondoggle that Aaron Dicken alone has allowed to double in price. It's now going to be a $1.8 million project, even though he promised the people personally it was going to be about $800,000, and we'd never spend any taxpayer dollars on it. Is that the project?
Well, okay, so you said $1.8 million. That is what they were talking about.
I read it on the internet. It's all Aaron's fault.
Yeah, the bonds that they were talking about at the city council meeting on May 7th, which was this Monday, was for $1,756,000. Oh crap! I think
did you break a nail, Tiger? You okay?
Oh, I think I'm okay now. But no, so basically it's. The bonds are there. It's going to be coming from the tax increment financing. So that
TIF,
the TIF. That basically is going to come from Crown really. Whenever they do any kind of improvements and raise their property value and things, if there's a increase in the assessed value of certain structures that Crown operates and owns, but. They did recommend, and this is what I thought was interesting, a property tax backup in case they couldn't repay the bonds.
So they included they included that with their ordinance. So they've got 2 or 3 different tools in the tool bag, and potentially, if it goes terribly wrong, and say Crown disappears or the money doesn't come that they expect, that would be one of the backups. Is that they could put additional burden on the property taxpayers to pay for the plaza.
So they did say it was very rare that would happen, but I don't like that. I mean, I don't even agree with the property tax as a whole. I think it's vehemently illegal. I'm opposed to it, and then they want to talk about raising it to pay for a nice looking area.
Is it going to be anything more than a parking lot?
Well,
if you look at the plans, it's going to be a nicely manicured parking lot with a stage, and it's a community gathering place. But it's also going to be quality parking for the Jennings building, for Primo, for the Arts Park, for any downtown activities. So it's going to provide you. And
we're going to try to open up a brewery down there later, the Boss Hog Liberty Brews.
Are we?
Yeah. We already talked about
I slept through that meeting.
But, yeah.
Jesse's going to start.
It is going to look nice, Jesse.
It's going
to basically. What they're going to put there is a lot better than what's there now.
For somewhere between $1 and $2 million, it should look really nice.
And what I've heard, so undisclosed sources here, but the rumor mill has come to me.
Oh, good.
It's going to. What I've heard is that they're expecting it to cost right around $1 million, so not too far off that $800,000 original plan.
So what happens is you, as a government entity, you work with the designer and you say, hey, we want to spend X, and they give you an engineer's estimate. And the engineer says, we think we can bid this job, and it's going to cost $800,000. And then you go out and you publicly bid it, and you get bids from 1 company, 2 companies, 3 companies, could be 10 companies. And you usually take the low bidder as long as they're consistent with what the bid spec book said it was. And you had an $800,000 estimate, and the low bidder comes in at $850,000, then you don't have to award the job. You say, nope, it's over the estimate, we're not awarding it. Or the bid could come back in, and it could be $720,000, and you say, yep, you're low, we're going to give you the job. Good to go. If they all come in at 1.5 and they had the estimate at $800,000, they're covered and they can deny it, or they can say, well, we did borrow 1.8, we could just award the job. So they've got different options.
See, that's all that is. It's
but
people,
if it comes in over
people
the
on the internet keep trying to say that since they've talked about that 1.8 with the bonds, then they already know that that's what it's going to cost. But that's not the case. Like I said, I have heard from an undisclosed source that they're thinking it's going to cost $1 million. So
that's your guess.
Yep.
Inside information. If you're bidding on that job, bid $900,800.
I'm playing the part of Abdul right now, and this is my cheat sheet.
This is it. And it's free.
And it's free.
All right. Well, we are about at that point, man. We stretched it for a little while to get Mike on, but then, man, the show was over.
But he came through with us. He had some good information.
It was very good having Mike on the scene. Final thoughts. Jesse Riddle, you are running for County Council, District 3.
I am.
If people don't know anything about you, you've run for County Council the last 2 cycles, continued to build that name ID. You ran for the District 4 seat the District 3 seat with Steve Duggar 4 years ago.
Yep, 2014.
In 2016, you ran at large. What are your main issues? What are the things you talk about and the reasons why people need to vote for Riddle in 2018?
Yeah, you're going to put me on the spot. This wasn't my podcast to talk about my race.
So we'll have you back on, but what are you all about? What are the main things? Just 2 or 3 talking points.
For me, my main things are making sure that we're spending money appropriately, trying to get a wrangle around the jail situation, probably also. I was thinking about this today. There was one other thing that differs vastly than the other people, but I can't really remember what it is right now.
All right.
But yeah, I mean,
are you pro or against wind?
Pro or against wind?
Yeah.
I love wind, but not necessarily wind turbines.
That's what I was talking about.
All right.
IWTs. Do you think they're the devil?
You've made it known that you're anti-subsidy from the council level.
Yeah, 2014, I probably said I was for abatements, but I have now backed away from that philosophy, and I am not for abatements, and I don't care if it's for wind or if it's mom and pop wanting to put in
all around government doesn't pick
putting
favorites.
in a fancy parking lot. I'm just not going to do it.
I think that is the position of everybody that is running with an L beside their name on the ballot.
We hope so.
At least as the chairman in the county,
in 2014, I was the lone fellow that sat at the debate in the council chambers and said, no abatements. I started that game in 2014, and here we are. The whole county has followed me down that path.
Jeremiah has walked me into the light.
Yes. We don't just pass them out willy-nilly.
Yeah.
We started my position, and I'm sure yours will be too. My position with damn near everything starts with no on the council,
right?
And then you can try to woo me back to a yes. But every budget, I'm going to start with a no until I'm happy. I
think so. One thing I was thinking about that's again people don't really care about, but I do, and they should care. Is and you guys talked about it, I think on the PEG interview, but the nonsense and like rigmarole that we have to go through to deal with like the voter registration office, like what can be done to, what can be done so that people can bring their phones into the building? In the Justice Center? Yeah, like what I know it's the most annoying thing ever. Like I want to pick up like all this like low hanging fruit that makes like everything a little bit easier, and then like according to like Steve and they like the whole win thing's pretty much a dead horse. A dead horse, yeah. Well, it's definitely dead after Tuesday. Yeah, for real. And and then the Doughboy is what it is. You can't. You haven't asked me because this isn't my thing, but I would not pay for another Doughboy. Yeah. That could be raised through private funds if people are that heard about it. How much money you got? You putting money down? On a Doughboy? Yeah, let's go. Get out that checkbook, big boy. Money. I still owe you money. I don't owe you money, but I've pledged you some money, I think. All right. So. Well, cool. Any other final thoughts? No, I think that's it right now. That's it. Jesse Riddle, thank you very much for joining us today. Well, you've been an excellent fourth choice co-host. Yeah. Fourth string podcaster right here. The Curtis Painter of co-hosts. I can't wait. Yeah. I'm really going to do the chair thing next time.
Jesse, we're gonna have you on later on towards the election and give you a one-on-one interview to talk about your positions. And I did rush to get my website put up like 5 minutes before I got here today. All right. So what's your website?
VoteRiddle.com.
VoteRiddle.com.
Yeah.
All right, Dakota. Final thoughts.
Right. So my final thoughts for the evening are, I hope that Aaron Dicken doesn't raise my property taxes. I'm coming for you, Aaron. But we
can always move away.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, listen, if he raises those taxes too much, I heard Dustin Ellis is waiting in the wings.
I heard that too.
Coming at him.
As an L, maybe. I don't know. But if I run, it's against Mark Coger, so Aaron doesn't have to worry about that. But then I would be running against my cousin. Awkward.
Is that a family hate crime?
Maybe. I don't know.
Thanks for awkward get-togethers.
So my final thoughts for this evening are I'm glad that we're through the primaries. This is a good episode.
Mercifully through the primaries.
To unwind. I need to congratulate my wife publicly, and I also want to tell everybody.
You heard that right.
I did.
Congratulate.
Congratulations,
Audrey.
I want to congratulate Audrey. So, yes.
Audrey has graduated from college?
I don't understand. What's the problem?
What's the problem?
All right, continue. Please continue.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, head over to her Facebook page. You'll be able to see her cap. Go over there. Make sure that you like it on the actual IU East bookstore page so that she can win that. Like I said, it's a financial gain. That's always a big thing. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in to the Boss Hog of Liberty. I know that this was a little bit different than what we've been doing here the past couple months, but it's always great to be behind the microphone. And thank you once again. Check out redbubble.com for all of our merchandise with my beautifully designed logos, and check us out on Patreon.
So month of May in Indianapolis for me is absolute Christmas.
Jared's on vacation.
Jesse knows that like I want to do absolutely nothing but go to the track. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna go out on.
What day is the race?
Well, there's two races. The Grand Prix of Indianapolis is on this Saturday. So tomorrow is the qualifying and practice for the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, Saturday is that race. The Grand Prix. The Grand Prix. And then the actual Indy 500 is on Sunday. I don't know. It's the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. So it's like 2 weeks.
27th.
Yeah, the 27th. Sure.
Sounds good.
So if you are a Patreon subscriber at $10 a month.
What are you doing?
$10 a month, Patreon subscriber. You can hang out with myself and Dakota, Turn 3 Infield. You are going to get a special invitation to my invite-only party in Turn 3 in the infield. Hang out with Dakota, Jeremiah, Audrey, Sarah, and Chase, maybe, and Danny Morrell in the infield party.
I declined this.
Jesse's not coming. There's no way.
I declined the invite.
We're not trying to
That's why you're invited.
Nobody's advertising Jesse as like, hey, come to a party Jesse's at.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
But month of May in Indy, man. If you join Patreon, I will send you an invite tonight if you join the Patreon at $10 a month, and we'll put you in there. But so much excitement. 35 cars for 33 spots. This weekend, we got the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. We got the Dale Coyne car we talked about on the bonus episode last week. The Fittipaldi, the young Fittipaldi was injured, and there's an open slot. Ed Jones finished third in that race last year in the Indy 500 in the Dale Coyne.
Are you the sports desk right now?
It's so exciting.
I think he is.
The Indy 500 is my Christmas.
Dakota and I are just like,
oh, man.
No idea what he's
doing. The problem is Dakota has like a week and a half to get a total crash course because on the 22nd, we have Mike McCown, who's a old-timer at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, entering his 30th year as a photographer at the track.
Listen.
Zach Burcham, who's a Category 5 super fan of the Indy cars and the Indy 500, and
I was about to say, that is why Zach is coming on, to fill the gap.
There we go.
We're going to have some fun.
It's not like it's going to matter whenever I'm at the race. I'm just going to be drunk.
By the time this month is over, you're going to know the difference between Sebastian Bourdais, Tristan Vautier, and Simon Pagenaud.
He never saw me in school, did he?
Yeah.
You'll be able to smell the line.
Turn left the whole time.
Yeah.
Turn left.
Not this weekend. So the IndyCar series,
meow.
here's the thing, Jesse.
No.
It is the same cars,
No.
same motors.
No.
They change the body a little bit, and they are the most versatile form of motorsport in the world.
Yeah.
They take the same car, and they run the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where you have 4 identical turns, or nearly identical turns, 2.5 miles around. But the same car, same drivers, same motors run the infield racetrack as a road course, as a roval. And they'll run Long Beach. They'll run St. Pete. They'll run street courses. You got the whole deal. So really looking forward to the Indy 500. You are going to get total and complete coverage from me, whether you want it or not. You've got it all. And I'm going to say right now that I think Joseph Newgarden wins his first Indy 500.
I hope he does too.
Newcastle, Indiana's.
I hope he
Newcastle,
does.
Indiana's own.
That we can
Dude learned how to race at Newcastle Motorsports Park.
That is
He's
really
the defending IndyCar champion, driving for Roger Penske, the winningest owner in the history of the series. 17 wins in the Indy 500 for the captain. You know Penske Truck Leasing, Penske Chevrolet,
I know
Penske everything.
Yeah.
That's Roger. It's his team.
That's Roger.
Penske perfect.
Okay.
And
Are these your final thoughts?
this is all I got.
It only took 30 minutes.
I took 4 minutes.
It was only like 4 minutes.
Follow
it
me.
Feels like forever.
At Jeremiah Morrell on the Twitter, Jeremiah at bosshogliberty.com. I'm serious about it. Join that Patreon and message me and say, hey, I want to go to the Indy 500 and take this in. I want to learn from you.
Is it going to be on us, or are you going to pay for the ticket?
No, I will give you the invite to come. I'm not going to give you a free ticket to the infield, but you're coming to the race anyway. There's 250,000 people coming to this thing. Everybody but Dakota and Jesse come to the Indy 500.
So you should make sure people understood that, because I thought you were paying their way in.
No.
I did too, yeah.
No, once you're on the grounds, we give you the invite to come to our party.
All right, well, that's clear now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm definitely
They're going to
not
give
coming.
us money, but he's still not going to pay for it.
I will let them party with us.
I was like,
it comes with
a deal.
free beer and an exclusive
Beer.
experience.
Why'd you wait and beer?
Dakota, I'm telling you, get those jorts cut short. Get ready.
Gosh.
That's a good shirt. The shirt you're wearing now, the flamingo shirt is perfect for the race.
They'd have to peel Lisa off of you.
But you need to
I like the
need
shirt.
to need to pair that with some jorts.
I might just end this live stream.
All right, we're done. We're gonna see y'all next week. We're gonna have
we're
Brandy
finished.
and Matt Pierce, Dakota and I. It'll be a good time. See y'all next week.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Hog of Liberty, which is part of the We Are Libertarians Network. I am Chris Spangle, and I am the founder of this network, and I invite you to listen to all of our shows, which you can find at WeAreLibertarians.com or by searching for these in your podcatcher. The flagship show is the We Are Libertarians podcast, where we apply libertarian principles to current events. The Brian Nichols Show is a conversation amongst Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, as they talk about what is happening in the news. And we have many other podcasts like The Chris Spangle Show, Upward, The Cost, Raw Audio Politics, Miranda's World, and Tad Talk, which is quite a ride. So check all of these out. Go to WeAreLibertarians.com and you can check out all of our great podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at WeAreLibertarians.com.